Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I blow soon, soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my room, room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in the room. I been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I got a gas, they running on fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my lower, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't relate but like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low but I'm back on the rise, it's real. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I blow soon, soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my room, room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm hopping now I gotta go. I'm looking back, they not even close. I had a 4, now I need a ghost. I got a wave like I'm on the coast. Same ones are doubting, I dare the show. So way that I'm ballin', they think I'm a pro. I'm getting sick by the money I gross. They saying whoa, I told them all what this is. I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time, look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shooting this brace, I'm going in a new gig, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script, I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. It's just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Ayy, just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen them down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a mill, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's my time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Told him come down and I'll meet him at a gate. Got a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, At the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on a roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin, guys, last night we did look at the possibility of it getting the fake out of the all-time high, and it does look like we got a perfect fake out / failed auction of the previous high. Is it the bear market? Is the top in? Is everything canceled, guys? Is it time to sell your crypto? We're going to be breaking it all down on tonight's live stream, guys. And we even took a look at some of those key levels on yesterday's live stream if we were to get that bigger correction to the downside. I wonder how many people remember what key levels we were looking at, but I'll give you one of them. It was the value area high sitting at about 119,776, and we did break below that level, guys, which means we are now re-accepted into our lower profile, and we are approaching a very, very big level of support. So we're going to talk about that, and I'll kind of talk about Market Cypher B. Are we going to be able to see the bigger correction? What the heck is going to go on here? We just faked out all-time high, Frankie. Was that it? Was that the all-time high? Is the bull market over? Well, we'll cover those possibilities as well. But yeah, we still have some time here. So without further ado, guys, shout out to the Mafia, yo. Shout out to Golden. Thank you for gifting those memberships, and thank you for the super chat. He says, public notice. Apparently, I have people impersonating my accounts. I will never message you first, and I will never ask you for anything to try to sell you anything. Don't believe it if you get a message from me asking you for something. Shout out to Golden. Thank you for saying that, bro, guys. Be careful out there. My accounts, Tony D's accounts, any of our accounts, guys, we will never ask you for money or seed phrases, or I will never trade for you. I'll never ask you for your logins or anything like that. So please be careful out there. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So shout out to Golden, bro. Thank you so much for getting those 50 Frankie Candles memberships. We started the live stream with a golden waterfall. Absolutely insane. And also shout out to Jack. Shout out to Jack Boogie. Thank you for gifting those memberships as well. He dropped 5 memberships. Let's go, baby. We haven't even started the stream yet, guys, and we're already getting gifted memberships for the Mafia. Let's go. Shout out to Golden and Jack. But, guys, we do have a lot of stuff to look at here on the charts. We do have that key level down below. I'm going to cover it in full and show you guys as we travel through this profile. And by the way, guys, I am in a short, not from the tippy top, but ever since we broke down below that key level of support that we were looking at yesterday. So we'll break everything down. I don't want to cover everything without looking at the actual charts. But shout out to Linda in the chat. Says, thank you, Frankie. Shout out to Linda. No problemo. We're here every single day. We got Baby Genius in the chat. Shout out to No One. Says, dump. What is going on, No One? Welcome in. We got Scott in the chat. Stop losses hit. Bounce from here, question mark. Shout out to Scott. Thank you for being here. We got Crypto Owl. We'll answer all those questions. We got James in the chat. We got Perry said, salute, Frankie. Shout out to Perry. Welcome in, bro. David said, that's not what you said when you emailed me. Shout out to David Ryan. Yes, guys. I will never ask you to just send money or, people always say, like, I have friends that get emails, not emails. Instagram DMs all the time from me saying, hey, in broken English, hey, can you send me your login information? I will trade your $1 into $2 million every day for the rest of your life. And I have some pretty funny friends. They absolutely drag these guys along. It's absolutely insane. But, guys, we got to break into the charts here. I'm going to cover everything with you guys. Frankie, boss of the D-Gen family. Shout out to Jack. Let's go, baby. Welcome in. And, again, thank you for those memberships. Hit that like button, guys. Don't forget, smash that like button. If we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream, I'll give away $250 in Solana. So go ahead and smash that like button. And we're giving away 10 bags of ADA tomorrow. Is today Thursday, guys? I am losing track of time here. But yeah, we will be giving away 10 bags of Cardano as well tomorrow. But if we get 1,000 likes, $250 in Solana. And speaking of Solana, guys, we got some stuff to look at on Solana as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. Shout out to who said that? Shout out to Panda the Prophet said, just let us down easy. We're going to zero, aren't we? Shout out to Panda the Prophet. I will cover the more bearish case, guys. You know, we always have to look at the bullish case and the bearish case. As you guys know, I have been much more bullish long-term here. And, yeah, we're going to yeah, I'll cover this. I'll cover the bearish case as well. Obviously, anything can happen here, guys. And, yeah, I mean, to be honest, you know, we faked out that all-time high, guys. I mean, this is something that we looked at. Somebody even said yesterday, Frankie, do you ever short the all-time high for content? And as I answered that, I was saying I have shorted the all-time high, not necessarily for content, but just because I thought it was a good short trade. But we did have some key levels of support here, guys. Obviously, we did have that previous all-time high. Do I already have that marked out? Yeah, let me go ahead and move this so I have it labeled. So we did have the previous all-time high sitting at 123,259, and that was kind of level number one. But we also had some daily MPOCs here. Hopefully, yeah, I did delete it. Let me see. I think I do have it on one of these other charts. I believe it was, actually I could probably find it. I believe it was a Trading View daily MPOC, so I might be able to find it this way. There it is, bada boom, 122, yeah, like right about here. And then, let me see here. I really wish I didn't delete that MPOC because it was actually a little bit higher. I think it was 122. 3 something. I think it was like right here. And then we also had the we had this previous high here. So I'm going to break this down for you guys. As you know, we looked, you know, back in the day, I'm going to bring you back in time here. We looked at this $118,000 level as a very, very major key level of support. We knew once we broke above this, guys, it was at this point I said, hey, guys, if we can flip this, I am going to be anticipating very likely to push into new all-time highs. We got one more little correction. We caught that little long position here in the premium Discord for a nice new little long. Not that one. Where is it at? Bada boom. I think it's running long number 2 right here. So we had that long position. We showed that yesterday. Did finally push in, and the final target for that trade, guys, was all-time highs because we knew, right? Hey, once you get above that $118,000 level, we also did have the other longs from lower. See if I can pull those up as well, right? So we had the long running from down here. We had a long here from the retracement. I am actually still holding this position. So we had 2 longs down here. We had the next long up here. But basically the kind of case here that we were looking at, guys, was flipping that $118,000 level. We had a ton of confluence up here. We had the point of control of the range. And, you know, once we get above here, you know, it is going to be more likely, in my opinion, to push up in all-time highs. You're able to catch that next little kind of, you know, quote-unquote scalp long at first with the possibility of pushing into new all-time highs. We got that to hit. Final take profit. And then last night, guys, you know, we were also looking at the possibility of getting a fake out of this all-time high, and if we were, the kind of worst-case scenario I would be looking at was for a pullback, right? Number one level was going to be the value area high sitting at about $120,000 right here. That obviously got absolutely melted through. And what did we look at yesterday? Well, hey, if we get stuck inside that value area and we can't get out of that value area high, next likely price to go, it's probably going to be that POC. And we are currently playing around with this level, guys. And the worst case scenario that we covered was a potential pushback, right, or pullback into our biggest key level on the chart as of right now locally, which is going to be that $116,600 to about $116,000 level, where we now have a golden pocket retracement, a daily MPOC, a daily horizontal, and again, the beautiful play out of these volume profiles. Lose the high, very likely, you go to the POC, and then if we can't get above this POC, guys, and this goes for like right now, if we cannot reclaim this POC and get a bounce from here, you know, the overall anticipation is going to be for that full fill of the range into this major key level of support. We also have the CME gap down here. So, you know, we were saying yesterday it would kind of make sense to come down here and fill that CME gap. And I am hoping that if we do have to come down here, and we'll take a look at Market Cipher B and see kind of what it's saying, and maybe cover a potential bigger pullback, which we have covered in the past as well. I hope we don't have to see that, but it is definitely in the cards if we lose this $116,000 level. But if we push down here, guys, this is going to be an area where I will be interested in looking for bounces. And it does look like the most bearish bullish case, or the, I wouldn't say the most bearish bullish case, but the more bearish case played out, right? The option of faking out the all-time high is there. And again, I am in a short position here. I think I have it marked off on the chart. Bada boom. Right here. So the idea for this short position, guys, although I did not trade like an exact SFP, you know, once we lost that all-time high wick, but really what I was looking at here, because we had kind of a zone of support, right? Previous all-time high was key, right? And then we basically all the way down to these previous highs that we made back here on Monday. This was basically the level I was looking to swing fail, and we did have that daily MPOC here. Let me just label this. daily MPOC. It wasn't, this is not to the dollar exactly where it was, but it was somewhere up here. But really that zone was between the previous all-time high and that previous high from Monday. And I was letting the premium Discord know yesterday, hey guys, if we continue to pull back here, you know, this is the level you really want to hold. If we cannot hold that level and we lose it, I would consider that a failed auction, which would very likely give us a bigger pullback, potentially to the value area high. And then we all know once you lose that value area high, you can look for the potential fulfill of the range. So I am holding that position. I do believe I have it open here. Where we at? Bada boom. So this is up. I already got $1,000 locked in. I locked in that profit super quick. Still got 916 unrealized. So obviously, guys, we are dumping, but that doesn't mean that the Mafia can't make money. We make money whether price goes up or down. We make the money on the pumps. We got, oh God, she's pushing down again. But we made the money on the pumps here from the low to the high. Got that full TP, and then I was able. This was kind of an annoying position. I'll just break this down for you guys. To be honest, I was sitting here and I'm like telling the Discord, like, I really, you know, this was pretty late at night, right? This was pretty much at like 1 a.m. I was like, hey, guys, I am probably going to be sleeping if we lose that daily MPOC or previous high for the failed auction. But if we do, I would consider it a failed auction for a continuation to the downside. I was going to wait for a little bit of a retracement. I was sitting here. I was waiting. I was like falling asleep, like laying in bed. Come on, retrace. Give me the entry. Give me the entry. And then we lost the daily MPOC, got a little bit of a retracement. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to take that short position, set my stop loss, and then if we dump, we dump. That's great. And that did wind up playing out, guys. And, you know, I'm kind of disappointed in myself because I kind of eliminated the laying in bed staring at the charts portion of my trading journey. I used to do that all the time. It's like, I can miss the trade. I can miss the trade. And I don't typically like stay up super late just to catch a position like that. But I was just laying there and I happened to not be able to sleep. And I did catch that short position, which is nice because now I'm making money on the way down. But yeah, it's just like, don't do that, guys. To be honest, it's not worth it. If I missed this move, it would have been whatever. But luckily I did catch it, but at the cost of some sleep, unfortunately. So I am holding that position here, looking for the potential continuation down if we can. Again, like right now, biggest key level of support or resistance is going to be $118,300, right? Pretty much at this point of control. And again, it just has to do with the volume profiles, right? If we can't get back above that POC, the fulfill this range, guys, is going to be very, very, very likely, right? And then, you know, especially when you have this major key level of support down here, it's I just feel like that is probably going to be the higher probability situation. And this wouldn't really be that alarming, right? Because if we zoom out here, this is the golden pocket pulled from the low all the way to the high here. And, you know, we were even talking about this as we were looking at this golden pocket at first on this high. It's like, you know, hey, guys, we have that value area low, golden pocket just underneath. But once we put in that all-time high, we actually got that to come in perfect confluence with that value area low. And you can now see that. What is going on here? Grabbed the wrong fib there. Right. Once we got up here, we did get that golden pocket to come perfectly confluent with that value area low, which is very nice, right? Because if we do come down there, you could still look for potential bounces off this level, and then maybe we could shoot back up to all-time highs. But I'm going to show you, I am going to be a little bit aware here, guys, of a bounce off this level and potential lower highs and lower lows to come, which could potentially give us that bigger pullback that we have been talking about, which could bring us all the way back down. And you guys are going to be like, oh, my God, we're bringing these levels up again. Come on, Frankie, please don't do this to us. But at the end of the day, guys, excuse me, we do still have some really, really big support down below. If we do have to go for those much bigger retracements to the downside, I will pull that up, right? Obviously, we did hold support here on our structural highs at $112,000. We do still have some key levels down here. This golden pocket actually has moved because we made a new all-time high, right? So this does move up just a tiny, tiny bit. But we do still have a lot of support down here, guys. This is still the major level of support that I'll be looking at. And, you know, even yesterday, as we push into these all-time highs, we talk about, like, guys, we still have time for those rate cuts to come in. We still have a lot of time till September. There could be some effery on the chart. And here it is, right? Here it is. You know, could this be the all-time high forever? Potentially, right? Like, that's never going to be impossible. But again, just looking at this price action, there's really nothing here that is super bearish just yet. We're going to take a look at Market Cypher in a minute. But just so you guys understand, right, we have been looking at this possibility of getting that bigger pullback into some of these bigger, major key levels of support before finally seeing that big move to the upside. And that lowest level that I would like to hold is sitting between about $107 and $108,000, right? At this golden pocket. We also have some daily MPOCs down there. I actually just turned them off, right? We have a daily MPOC down there as well, a daily horizontal, the point of control of this range. And even before that, we have this level here at a daily MPOC and the value area high between about 111 all the way down to about 110K. So we still do have some really, really big support down below. And I will actually just move this just because, let me actually redo that real quick. Bada boom. And I will just grab that because we already bounced off this level. So next major level, high time frame level of support, 111 to 110K, daily MPOC value area high. And then underneath that, we're still watching this golden pocket, still sitting in pretty much the same zone between about $107 and $108,000. This is still high time frame macro levels. This is the biggest level to look at, right? Because if we lose that level and we start trending down here to fill this volume profile, we are at risk of coming into that macro value area high. 105,730, guys. Once we start losing that, yikes, right? That is going to indicate a much bigger drop to the downside, potentially targeting the POC at $97,000. I'm not necessarily calling for this, but I just kind of want to bring this back up because this is something we've been looking at. And yesterday was super exciting with the all-time high. But with this fake out, guys, we could be going for the bigger local retracement, again, coming down to the 116.5 level. If not, right, we could potentially trend down towards those bigger macro supports between 111, 110, and 107 and 108K. But this does not change my longer-term sentiment just yet. It's not going to be until we lose this value area high of the macro range where I'd be like, I don't know, guys. This is going to be looking a little bit more bearish at that point. We'll be looking for much bigger drops to the downside. But again, we're still very far away from that, right? From the value area high, we still have a 10% drop, which, as you guys know, can happen very quickly. We already got like a 6 to 7% drop today. So just to have you guys all aware of, like, all those bigger key levels down here still remain the same. We've been looking at these forever. Nothing has changed. And we do still have some local support here as well. So hopefully we don't have to deal with any of these levels. But even if we do have to, you see this bigger drop down, we do still have those macro support levels. Again, 108K would be the level that we don't really want to lose because then you're playing with the big line in the sand. But let's talk about this. Why am I even interested in potential lower highs and lower lows? Well, if we take a look at that 12-hour, guys, that 12-hour money flow has been pretty suspicious lately. We covered this yesterday and many other streams before that, almost every single stream over the past couple of weeks, right? This money flow is still trending to the downside. And if this crosses over into the red, if we continue down here and this crosses into the red, probably going to be aware of these lower highs and potential lower lows to come. And we do still have some other local levels here. Honorable mention, 786 daily is going to be sitting down here between about $114,600 and $114,000. So these would be like the local levels of support. I know I'm bringing up a lot of stuff here, so I don't want to confuse everybody, but locally, if we continue through this profile, which we all know is going to be somewhat likely, right, just based off the laws of the volume profile, this is the first major level locally. If we lose that, we can look down towards that 786. But again, at that point, based off money flow, if it's coming out, we have to be aware of those lower highs and lower lows if we don't get the bounce from here. So yeah, just bringing up those local levels. So like for today and tomorrow, 116.7 all the way down to about 116K. Huge level, value area low. Even if we kind of slip this, reclaim it, you could just look to trade this as a volume profile. And again, we have to be aware of those lower highs and lower lows on the way up based off this 12-hour money flow. And then if we come on down here to some of the other lower time frames here, 4-hour money flow starting to trend out as well. Still pretty healthily in the green here, but, as we are starting to, it does look like this could be a money flow peak. So we just have to keep an eye on this money flow as it develops. 3-hour money flow coming out. 2-hour money flow kind of flat there. 1-hour money flow is already on its way to the downside. It's coming back up locally, but, generally this could be a lower high. I'm just going to play this level to level, to be quite honest with you guys. Money flow is a little bit choppy here on the 1-hour. But, that 12-hour money flow is still the major high time frame money flow that I will be looking at, right? Because if this is going to continue down, right, we would anticipate lower highs and lower lows, right, which could push us down into either these local levels or, again, 111 to 110K. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But right now, we're just within this volume profile, so I will be trading accordingly based off this range. Come on down to the range lows. If we get those bullish confirmations, right, we could look for that ride back up through the profile. So that's the biggest level to watch right now, $116,600 to $116,000. Golden pocket, daily MPOC, daily horizontal, value area low, and the golden pocket, right? But, yeah, all on top of this, right, like just locally, or not, I wouldn't say locally, but daily red dot looking to print. We were looking at this yesterday. Money flow still kind of coming up, but if we print this red dot, guys, we could see that continuation down. But again, this wouldn't necessarily indicate the top of the bull market for me. Could it be? Obviously, anything is possible, but got to watch that daily red dot because that could continue the bigger move, and I will keep you guys updated every single step of the way. And if we do continue down here, obviously, I've already closed a bunch of my longs. If I come down a little bit more here, if we continue down at some point, I will stop out in profit on my longs from lower, and then the short position just simply continues to pay us out, which isn't a bad situation, right? This is why we always are aware. Even on pumps to the upside, we have to be aware of the potential corrections because we can make money like that on the way down, right? Already got a little over $1,000 locked in. We $900 or almost $1,000 unrealized, right? So there's plenty of money to make on these little moves to the downside. Even if this was the bottom, it's like make $1,000 in less than 24 hours. Like, where else can you do that, guys? Without any like crazy amount of labor. Trading is kind of the only thing, right? So yeah, that's what we're looking at. Major volume profile still remains here. Value area high, $120,000. POC 118.3. And again, if we can't break above that POC, we all know that next stop for price action, right? So hopefully we can catch some longs down here. If we don't get the confirmations, we'll let that short ride. And then, eventually I will stop out of my long down here in profit, which already has profits locked in as well. So actually, do I have that open as well? Let me see. Bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, so I will pull this up right quick. Over here on Blowfin, bada boom. There it is, right? So $1,500 locked in. Obviously have the profits locked in, still $980. What is this called? Unrealized profit. Like I said, guys, I lost a lot of sleep last night. So yeah, again, this is a long for much lower. So eventually I will stop out of that in profit as well if we have to get a big dump, but still just very, very healthy in profit there. But yeah, that's pretty much, to be honest with you guys, I know this is a very scary drop. Like, I feel it too. It's also exciting because we're making money, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't say there's anything, here. Like, there's no major signal that would tell me that this is like the bottom of the bear market. The top of the bull market, right? Good Lord, guys. Was the lack of sleep worth that money? I don't know. But let me come on into the chat real quick. Check in on you guys. Let's see. We're going to 0. Shout out to the Godfather. Welcome in, bro. Let's go. BTC go, baby, go. 119K is juicy. Let's go. Shout out to Eugene Sky. Can we say crypto is a scam yet? Shout out to Bring the Chaos. Maybe. I don't know. This is the highest paying scam I've ever been involved with. I've only really bought, I'm not going to lie, guys, I've only really fully bought into one scam in my life, and that turned $150, I think it was, to like almost 20K. And then it went back down to 0, right? So I pretty much only lost $100, but it gave me an opportunity, right? The scams are the ones that pump the hardest sometimes. But yeah, it's I know these days are like, it's so funny, guys, and the emotion of crypto is insane, right? It's like, oh my God, bull market. Oh my God, top of the bear market. But, as a trader, always see this as ebbs and flows in the market. And, moreover, opportunities, right? Opportunity for the long position. And I'm not going to lie, kind of proud of these recent trades we've been taking in the premium Discord. Not that long. This long from here, right? And now we have the short running from not the tippy top, right? I didn't trade the SFP, but I did trade that pretty much the fake out of this high, which is now short from the top, right? So this is why I always tell people, like, I don't know why anyone would not want to view the market like this, right? It's like you could have your long-term biases, but, when you're looking at local price action, like this is an opportunity to make a bunch of money. This is an opportunity to make a bunch of money. And then obviously the long-term lower, right? Like opportunity to make a bunch of money, right? So you don't always have to just snipe the bottom and hope that this is going to play out to 200K, right? Take profits along the way, lock them in, move your stop loss to break even. And when you stop out of that trade, you're going to make money. And oftentimes, if you're going to stop out of that trade and make some money, you're going to have a short running from the opposite end paying you out as well. It's like getting paid on both ends of the spectrum here. And it also makes you not a slave to the bull markets, right? Like in a bear market, you're just going to keep cooking, but more on shorts than longs. So beautiful, beautiful situation. This is why I love being a trader. It kind of feels like cheating. It's like, I don't know. It's like if you have a game of like, say like a football game, it's like one team's losing. It's like you can, maybe they win the first half of the game. You could be on the winning team for the first half of the game. And then once the other team starts winning, you can just like run across the field and be on their team when they win the game. You still have the first half of the game won on the first team, and then the second team, you just wrap it up and end on the winning team. Start on the winning team and then end on the winning team. But let's see. Shout out to Trent Tate said, sounds like you don't have a profit-taking strategy. I don't know. I don't know about that. I already locked in profits on the long and the short. So I have profits locked in. So just to explain this, right? This is the long position, right? So I've already locked in $1,500 on this trade, right? So if we continue down and I get stopped out, I'm at least going to make that $1,500, right? This unrealized profit, like even if I don't take any more profit, right, I'll lose that $1,000, but I still made $1,500. On the short position, I already have $1,000 locked in and about $1,000 unrealized, right? So literally not only taking the profits, but moving my stop loss to break even. So that's the take profit strategy. That's crazy. No, no profit taking strategy is insane. This is like the number one thing that I preach. But let's see. Shout out to New Earth Guardian says, shout out to Frankie. Thanks for your service to the community. No problemo. That's what I'm here for, New Earth. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for being here for so long, baby. Shout out to Minaj Ford says, Frankie goat emoji. Should we just make like a goat with like my face on it? Shout out to Tony D. Tony D's already on Photoshop, like hacking the mainframe. But let's see. Shout out to Captain Kirk says the Mafia motto, sleep when you're dead. Captain Kirk, pretty much. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. At this point in my life, I may have preferred to have that sleep over the $1,000, but it is what it is. Can't complain. Sleep for dinner. Shout out to Minaj. Hashtag sleep when you're dead. We should just have like we should have a sleep when you're dead emoji as well. Shout out to Seth Shepard said, I took mad profits on ADA a few weeks ago, then saw it run to $1. Shout out to Seth Shepard. Well, if you locked in profits, that's all that matters, bro. If you made money, you made money. Value area high to 0. Shout out to the Panda Profit. Bull run canceled, question mark. Back to my job. Get the McDonald's applications out, guys. Pick up that job. Get that job back. You're going to have to apologize to your boss. But let's see. Shout out to Alan said, shout out to Frankie for handling every question with the class. Shout out to Alan. Of course, bro. If you're not here to learn, then what the heck are you here for? My wife almost won the Told You So game earlier when Bitcoin dipped. Shout out to Chill, bro. Let's see. I haven't slept once. July and watching you live instead of the morning. A tired UK fan. Thanks for the work, Frankie. Taking profits and in for the ride. Let's go. Shout out to Mrs. B. Let's go, baby. Let's go. That's why people say no profit-taking strategy. Like, I don't know how much realized profit. I don't know how much more of a profit-taking strategy you can have other than locking in money along the way. But what do I think? What do you think about Aave? I'm new here. Shout out to Lewis. We could try to take a look at Aave. We're going to take a look at the altcoins as well, guys. Many other altcoins. Yo, shout out to Divine Hood Trading said, what up, Frankie? We were just talking about how good of a trader you are and that you're a good dude, too. Shout out to Divine Trading. Hey, I appreciate the praise as a trader, but the praise as a good person is always going to trump that. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. But anyway, got all the profits locked in on pretty much every single trade, as per usual. If you want this thing to push to the upside, guys, we got to get above that point of control at 118.3. And again, I do still have my long from lower, so if we just decide to yeet on from there, stop out of the short, again, in profit, and then have that long to play out. But again, as I was saying, let's see here. Let me hide this trade real quick. We do have to be careful of lower highs and lower lows, in my own personal opinion, right? Because even if we do get a little relief here, that daily red dot is going to print, and we even looked at this yesterday on the live stream, guys. Whoops. We even looked at, whoops, come on. We even looked at this on the live stream yesterday, right? Like daily bearish divergence. There's your higher highs on your price action. There's your lower highs on your momentum waves today. Also bearish divergence potentially forming here, right? Higher highs, lower highs. So again, does this indicate the bottom of the top of the bull market? Good Lord, guys. It's going to be a rough one today. Is this going to indicate the top of the bull market? In my opinion, like there's nothing here that really says like, that's it, guys. It's the top. And I have to say this every time. You know, every time we get a dump like this, people are like, that's it, bear market. And unless I see some like super, super huge, big bearish signs, right, I can't really necessarily call for that. It doesn't mean that it's not the top of the bull market. You know, definitely more probable, you know, when people are calling for the bear market down here, obviously, you know, very low probability of that being the top of the bull market, right? Even down here, in my opinion, as I said live every single day, very low probabilities this was the start of the bear market. It does start to get a little bit more probable and more probable as you creep to the upside. But again, and you know, where were we looking at for our next major key level of resistance? Although we did not tap into these extension levels perfectly, we were pretty much looking between 125 and 126K, and the top of that candle's at about 124. Hey, where's my candle information here? Interesting. I guess I'll just do it this way. 124,550, man. $450 away from that actual target, but you're never going to get it to the dollar, or you're not always going to get it to the dollar, I should say. Sometimes, more often than not, we will get it to the exact dollar. But, again, with the money flow, the way money flow looks right now with the daily red dot looking to print, and just to show you guys, like, another reason, it wasn't just the fake out of the all-time high here. I'm not going to pull up the Discord post and, like, read it through exactly, but it's not just the failed auction here or the just quote-unquote fake out of the all-time high and this previous high here, but it was also the fact that what else were we looking at on the live stream last night, guys? Potential 4-hour bearish divergence is looking to print. So as we're faking out this high, it's like, well, hey, if we start dumping here, that 4-hour bearish divergence is going to print, very likely pointing to a continuation down. And then you also have the failed auction idea, right? So, like, once you lose this high, it's like, well, hey, we broke above the level, tried to trade above it. Once you lose it, yikes, right? And then you have your volume profile here guiding you on the way back down. So I would say if you're looking for a push-up, you got to get above 118.3. If not, if we get stuck under this POC, we will simply be looking down to that 116.6, $216,000 level. Once we start losing this, I'll just give this honorable mention, 114.630 all the way down to about 114K is that last 786 daily confluence. Once we lose that, I think it's going to be much more likely that this is going to turn out to be, let's see here, is going to wind up potentially looking like, on a weekly time frame, remember, guys, potential area to put in the macro lower high. Golden pocket 786. High, low, lower high. If we close this weekly candle down here and we start losing that 786 down here, I think the macro lower low could be more likely. Is that looking for a bit? Is that me looking for the bear market? Not necessarily. Again, we have those bigger key levels of support down below. Daily MPOC 111. Then you have the 110K level. And then you have the 107 to 108K level. So there you go. Yeah, I think that's about it, right? Like, I like to not only just kind of be like, hey, guys, look, I shorted the high, right? Like, cool, right? Money, yay. But, like, I like to actually teach you guys what we look for, right? It was the fake out of this high with the bearish divergences, not only on the 4-hour, but potentially looking to print here on the daily, which could indicate some more downside. So we have to be ready for that, and we are sitting in that short position. So let me get rid of these brushes, come back in the chat real quick. Let's see. Shout out to Mark Judge. What? Guys, I'm not going to say it's going to be a short stream, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it the whole time here. I can't even talk straight. But shout out to Mark S. that just joined the Discord. Well, welcome in, bro. Welcome in. I don't know if you got in last night or today, but if you got in last night and saw the loss of that daily MPOC, hopefully you were able to catch a short position. Let's see. Jack says good stuff. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to the boat painter says, Frankie, I need you to hold me and tell me it's going to be okay, and the market will go up. Shout out to boat painter. Well, I mean, personally, I do think we could go back up, right? Like, there's nothing here that, in my opinion, that says top of the bull market. And again, I can't say it's impossible that it's the top of the bull market, but it's like, hopefully you guys see a trend here, right? Like, when I see that there's a high probability, and even yesterday when we were talking about the idea of potentially having alt season coming around the corner, right, it does not mean an instant rip to the upside, right? And this is why I try to be very explicit about this, because if you're new to trading, you never looked at a chart, you tune into this channel, and you might hear, like, Ethereum, weekly money flow crossover into the green, mega bullish, right? And then you start pulling back, you're going to think, like, wait, I thought we were mega bullish. Why are we pulling back, right? But you have to zoom out and understand the overall context of the market, right? Money flow indicates the overall trend. And I know if you're not new here, this is, like, super repetitive to you, but I have to keep repeating it, right? Because we have new people that come in here every single day. Money flow, which is crossing into the green, indicates the overall trend, right? But it does not call for the pullbacks. The pullbacks are called by red dots, which, for argument's sake, you do have a red dot looking to potentially print here soon on Ethereum on the weekly, so could indicate a pullback. But I would still, at the end of the day, be looking for higher lows and higher highs. And, talking about having some time until the rate cuts come in, we could still see the altcoins pull back. I mean, heck, if we get the rate cuts, you might see us sell the news event and see the altcoins pull back before we finally see the alts run up into the true alt season that everybody's looking for. And we even talked timing yesterday on kind of like what that could look like, right? And we talked about, in my opinion, potentially like running all the way into October and potentially a little bit after that is the area where we could potentially see alt season happen. If it doesn't happen, say like leading up to the rate cuts and then like after the rate cuts, if we see some kind of crazy correction, right, that could run into like November, December, right? This would be like kind of on track with what we've seen in the past and would also make sense based off, the rate cuts coming in, maybe a sell the news event, and then finally having that liquidity find its way into the risk on assets. Let's see. Shout out to New Earth, says rate cuts are still almost 100% likely. Don't buy into the fear. They're accumulating now. And that New Earth, that might be the effery that we were talking about yesterday. I always try to manage expectations here. I know it's exciting to see Bitcoin pushing to new all-time highs. We had that race to all-time highs on Ethereum and Bitcoin yesterday. Bitcoin obviously won. But the always got to be ready for those pullbacks, right? And like, I mean, hey, we're putting our money where our mouth is, right? We're shorting up there. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Satoshi Chronicles, said, Frankie, when you share your chart in the premium Discord, why doesn't all the other charts show up? It has only done it one other time. Shout out to Satoshi Chronicles. I think that might be a glitch in TradingView. What he's talking about, guys, is I just share my chart. So in the premium Discord, you can get like my actual chart imported into your TradingView with all my levels and object trees, with all my folders and stuff. So you just get my exact chart. But I don't know. We've been having some trouble with this, and I think it might be a TradingView glitch potentially. It's nothing I'm doing differently. So I'm not 100% sure, but hopefully we can get that fixed very soon. Look at Solana. Shout out to Size Music. We're going to take a look at Solana, guys, because we were looking at something very specific on Solana yesterday. And what was that, right? It was to look for a crack of this high. And what happened? We got it. We got it, guys. But we got that instant rejection, right? But the idea here on Solana was we had our low, we had our high, we had our higher low coming in on the golden pocket, which is the high probability area to put that higher low in at. And you could, at that point, anticipate a crack of structure to the upside, breaking this high. And we got it. But we got the big rejection as well. But again, we're still within this volume profile on Solana. Key level to the downside right now for Solana. I'm not saying you can't break this level, but locally, the biggest key level of support right now will be the value area low of the macro range, sitting at about, 183.91. Once you lose that, right, potentially, right, we could pull some fibs here. Let's pull it from the low all the way to the high. Yeah, I mean, you have your golden pocket, but you don't really have a lot of confluence on that golden pocket. I would say like your biggest level underneath the value area low at 183.91 is probably going to be the value area high 786 of the previous range. Sitting right here between, I mean, I'll just give you one number here. I'm not going to make this a range, right? Pretty much sitting at 167.63. Could you bounce off the golden pocket? Potentially, but you have resistance right above. And again, there's not a lot of confluence here. Here you have the 786 and the value area high. Those confluent levels are typically the ones that you want to pay the most attention to. And for what it's worth, if we make our way down there, this anchored VWAP might also come up, which would be very nice because that's where we bounced off here, right? And we all know these anchored VWAPs are going to be very, very key levels. We even slipped it here, but once we reclaimed it, what happens? You crack the high. So yeah, I would say 160 or 183.91 is your local level, and then the biggest level underneath you after that would be the 786 value area high, sitting at 166.83. So there you go. But very nice to see that, right? The high probability here was low, high, higher, low, higher, high. Although you didn't get the push into the daily the POC of the range, you did technically get the crack of that high, showing you that the highest probability scenario is typically the one that plays out. Would have been really nice to see that push into the POC, though. This is like been our macro target on Solana for so long, and it just keeps getting front run. So frustrating. Unlike Ethereum, though, right? Ethereum, our next target on ETH, if you guys saw the market update where we were covering ETH, looking at that 4740 level, right, or 4750 level, there's your resistance, right? Very exciting to see Ethereum pushing up, but you have to understand when you have resistance, you're going to have some kind of a pullback, right? And if it has to be a really scary pullback, I would say, worst case scenario here for Ethereum, at least as of right now, is going to be the value area high. Is this weekly on POC naked? No, this is tapped, so I'm actually going to take this off the chart. Actually, you know what? I'll keep it on. I'll just label it as tapped. Bada boom. But you do have the value area high here, right? So this is going to be a huge key level of support. So if you do get the continuation down, right, say 35.50, right, at the value area high is going to be a huge level. Once you lose that, you could be on your way down to these bigger levels that we looked at yesterday at the golden pocket 786. Both have confluence on daily MPOCs as well. Hopefully we don't have to endure that, but again, that effery, right? We still have time for the September rate cuts to come in, and even then, if we get the bigger dump, right, maybe we push into the, hopefully not April of 2026, right? But if we come on down here, there's September. I can't call the timing on this as well as we can the actual technical levels, but, if we get a continuation, we get the rate cuts to come in, we get another dump. Again, this could leak into November, December, right? So maybe that's where we see the bigger push up. But again, this is like very far in the future, so we'll just cover this level to level. I would say your biggest level right now is 35.50 at that value area high, tapped weekly MPOC for sure, right? And at the end of the day, right, this is always your key level of support. You break above. Okay, is this just a deviation to get back into the range? Potentially. You get back in, can't get back out. Well, hey, you could fill that whole range. But here, I would say we're in a little bit of a different situation because you have that fresh weekly money flow crossover into the green. Shout out to Claudia. Thank you for the super chat. It says Pengu, question mark. Yeah, we could try to take a look at Pengu. Quick reminder, guys, please do not super chat your altcoins. You can, but they do not guarantee that we'll look at them. We try to look at as many as we can. I don't even have a pen on my desk. Unbelievable. But yes, I will try to take a look at Pengu. But for Ethereum, guys, we came in, we looked at this for the past week or so, looking at this as our next major target. We've tapped it. We're getting the correction. Nothing really like unexpected there, to be quite honest. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Jonah Lang. What is going on, man? Thank you for being here. Says, tell that POC to put some clothes on. Jeez. It's a family-friendly show. Shout out to Jonah. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. BTC 118.9 incoming, and if we break 119.7, boys, we back in business. Shout out to Eugene. And like I said, if we do get that shot to the upside here, guys, I will be, I have my longs from lower. We actually did have a little long setup here on the, let me pull up the actual chart. We did have a long setup down here from this little SFP earlier today. Got a little sweeper there. Wick down, closure down below, and we even had a local SFP. To be honest, guys, I don't know what happened on this. I did take this position. Unfortunately, I went to check it on the position, and half of it was closed. I think I had an accidental, conditional order that got hit on that second push to the downside, and it closed, half the position. I just closed the whole position, right? Because I only had, $18,000 left in it, and I was like, you know what? Man, I'd rather just sit and wait for this lower level. So I'm actually stopped out of this position that I took earlier today. But that's okay, right? Because if we do wind up taking off, like I said, I do have that long for much lower. So not really missing out on too much. Where's it at? All the way from down here, right? Well, technically, this was the final TP, but I am letting that winner run, right? So I am still technically holding that. So if we do rip up to new highs, I am still going to be in that position. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Erica. Said, apparently I can't super chat. What the heck? Gold? What the hecky? Shout out to Erica. Looks like you got Golden syndrome. YouTube tries to block Golden as well. That is interesting. Let's see. Starting to look more bullish. Shout out to New Earth. Yeah, I mean, locally, I would say. And maybe I could pull this up on the Discord. Let me just pull up my face cam here real quick because I don't want to leak any secret information that we have in the Discord. And it doesn't even matter because it opened on the other screen. But let me just kind of break this down. Where is it? Well, I guess I might as well just show this now, right? So this was last night, right? Yo, shout out to this meme, bro. This meme is hilarious. But talking about how these are the two biggest key levels. Previous all-time high, we have that daily MPOC with the previous high. Talking about, well, hey, guys, this is the level you want to bounce. Once we lose that, obviously all explained in this little paragraph here. But once we lose this, right, that would kind of confirm the failed auction for a bigger drop to the downside, right? And so that was kind of the idea on the short position. And then we wake up, and what happens, right? Lost the level. Failed auction, absolute dump to the downside. But let's see here. Yeah, so we did have this nice little, come on. We had the SFP here, right, with some bullish divergences forming. And then I don't know what happened there. Kind of frustrating, to be quite honest. If this thing pumps, I mean, I'm fine because I'm holding my longs from lower, but it is a little bit frustrating, honestly, because it's like if I lose a trade because I decided the trade is invalidated, that's fine. I just hate this. It was like, it's just like, I don't know why. Yeah, that'd be frustrating. But we do have that long position, but unfortunately, I'm just not holding it anymore. That's just the fact of the matter. But yeah, we'll see. But I am going to be careful here. If we yeet up, again, covered on that long position. If not, though, we do have to be careful, right? Because that daily green dot, if you're just looking for a yeet up and take off into new all-time highs, I don't want to say that's impossible, but this daily red dot is looming, guys. VWAP coming down. Money flow looks kind of healthy, but red dot looming, right, which could continue that move to the downside. And again, this is a pretty key level of support. And another thing that made me look for this, right, if we do front run the value area low here at 116.6 to 116K, well, it's not that we were bouncing off of nothing here, right? And we actually, I think I have the, where is it at? Here it is, right? So this is the, I'll just get rid of one of these lines. This was that long setup, and you could see here, it's like, well, hey, you front ran that level. But at the time when we were looking at this setup, right, we were not looking at our current volume profile. We were actually looking at our previous volume profile, which you could see here. That value area low was sitting, this is literally the level we're bouncing off of, right? Price never bounces for no reason. This previous volume profile or this previous value area low is the level. And if I just move this to the right, you can see it did tap into that entry perfectly, which is what made me take that long position earlier today. So if this winds up playing out like this, that's why it's so frustrating, right? Because it's like we had the setup, we had some confirmations, definitely a valid long setup, and I just got scammed, not scammed out of the position. It only closed like 75% of the position, but I wasn't going to hold that $18,000 position. I would have just rather just close that, wait for the lower level, and if I miss it, that's totally fine. And now we're getting the push to the upside, so dang. Shout out to the Mafia. Hopefully some of you guys are still holding that position. If you guys make money, it makes my missed opportunity feel a little bit better. Let's see. Just pop. Shout out to VW John, says just popping in to smash that like button. Let's go. Working nights sucks. Love you, Mafia. Shout out to VW John. Thank you for stopping by, bro. Guys, I will be right back. I don't know if you could hear me gasping for air, but I'm just going to go. I'm not going to go use an inhaler or anything, but I'm just going to go grab some water. So I'll be right back. Enjoy this music while you wait.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I blow soon, soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my room, room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in the room. I've been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I gotta gas, they running on fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my lawyer, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't relate but like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low, but I'm back on the
Great water, guys. Great water. Great water. Definitely didn't just use an inhaler. Hey, don't put the blue L's in chat, guys. I don't know what that is. Don't put that in the chat. I don't know what that is. But anyway, shout out to Captain Kirk. Hodl Crypto said subscribe, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. But that's my thought process here, guys. You know, again, a little disappointed on that long position, but, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes things happen. But nice to have the setup there, and, you know, hopefully it plays out. I still have that long from lower. Definitely not upset about that long. Anyway, let's continue on here, guys. We're going to take a look at some of the altcoins as well, but I think you guys are all covered here. I'd like to cover everything in as much detail as possible. So, you know, again, yeah, I don't want to over confuse everybody. But yeah, let's see. Blue L, shout out to One Hype Soul. Elevate, shout out to P-Dub, says elevator music next time, please. We should get some elevator music. When Bitcoin's just going sideways, just play the elevator music. All right, let's see. Shout out to Seth Shepard, has said, how does the 5-minute money flow look? Just crossed over into the green, which would be nice if you could have it confluent with a 80-minute green dot. It's not printing. And here's the other thing too, guys, right? That daily red dot with this 80-minute money flow coming out and 90-minute money flow coming out, if that red dot prints soon, could consider that a market cipher B 1/16 bearish setup as well. It's not happening perfectly at the same time, but these money flows coming out on the 80 and 90 minute could be a leading indicator. In which case, I would feel a little better about that long position. Shout out to the premium Discord, guys. If anybody took that long position, just understand, take profits on the way up. You're now above the POC, but if you lose this again, just understand, POC is the area where the most volume was transacted. This could act as a magnet. You could break above it, break below it again. You just want to make sure you don't get stuck underneath that. If you do, probably heading down to that lower level. But we didn't bounce for no reason. We had that previous value area low sitting here. So, yeah, that's why it was a valid setup. You have the SFP, the bullish divergences, and you technically did tap directly not only into that long entry, but also into the value area low. So it's not like you're bouncing off of nothing there. So, yeah, let's see. Yeah, shout out to Eric because it's elevator music. Ugh. Is that a new pattern? Cat ears? Yeah, this is the infamous cat ear top signal right here, right? And just to show you guys this Fibonacci retracement. So understand, high, low, lower, high. We close this weekly candle down here. Could be dumpy, which honestly, if this is going to be the lower high on this golden pocket 786, the low you're looking to crack is down here at 111.8. But yes, this is the infamous cat ears, right? You have your head, right? Nice long tail. That is the infamous cat formation. And we all know what happens after this. 0! I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. That's what we call chart. It's chart art. But anyway, let's continue on here. I'm going to take a look at some of the altcoins for you guys. We took a look at Ethereum already. We will take a look at, we did take a look at Solana already. So I guess we could probably jump right into, again, key levels of support here on Ethereum. Big levels. I'm going to cover the macro levels here, guys. If something crazy happens and we start collapsing down, 35.50 is the biggest level. It's your value area high. I wouldn't say it's the line in the sand to call for 0, right? That level would probably be sitting closer down here towards the 786. But, you know, we have time to chop around here, guys. Nothing goes up in a straight line. So just understand that. And you also have the bearish divergences forming, just like on Bitcoin, higher highs into key resistance, the target that we looked at on the market updates, higher highs, lower highs, red dot looking to print on the daily as well. And then we take a look at that 90-minute money flow. It's also coming out. This could indicate continuation, right? If you're looking for that red dot to print, this money flow comes out. If that money flow crosses into the red on the 90-minute, you're looking for lackluster retracements, lower highs, and lower lows. It is what it is, right? So that's what I'd be looking at here on ETH. We took a look at Solana, covered those key levels. Value area low, 183.91. Lose that. You know, honorable mention. I'm not putting this as a, you know, a more. I wouldn't consider this as significant as the value area high 786, but it is here. It is a place where you can bounce. It is sitting at about 176.69 down to about 174.51. But again, I just don't, unless we have a daily MPOC there, which I can check real quick. We do. I mean, hey, it does give it a little bit more validity there. You have a daily MPOC sitting right here, and you also have another one sitting just below it, right? So I would actually look at this as zone number 1 to bounce off of. If you lose that, very likely you're going to head down, to that 786. Value area high. Once you get accepted into here, might be on the way back down to the biggest level on the chart for Solana, which is going to be the 786 sitting at $143 in line with the POC of the range. And the reason I wouldn't expect to bounce off this golden pocket is because, we already got the bounce. So I'm not saying we have to come down to the 786. We have all these levels in between, but at the end of the day, once you get accepted into this value area high, let's say you come down, you lose the golden pocket, right? Best case scenario would be something like that. If you lose that golden pocket, you are going to be looking at the 786, but once you lose this, you know, we already bounced off here, so I don't expect this to be super strong support, which means that you could be on your way to that 786. So just be aware. But until you get accepted into the range, you don't have to worry about that, right? I mean, heck, you're still inside the value area here, right? So technically, if you stay above the value area low, doorway to the POC is still open. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. I hope the ETH bag holders took some profits if they had them. Shout out to Cigar. Shout out to Cigar Atachi. I don't know how to say that. It's ETH to 0, guys. That's it. ETH to 0. When doorway to ultra higher prices? Well, I mean, if we're looking at Solana, I'll just pull up a clean chart on Solana. If you really want the doorways to like all-time highs, I would say, let's see here. Let me pull this from, yeah, we're already above this, so, or no, we're not. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we're tapping on it, to be quite honest. Yeah, I'd probably go with this one, right? So doorways to new all-time highs would probably be 250.96, in my opinion, right? Because at the end of the day, if you have a high, a low, and you're looking for lower highs and lower lows, this would be where that would likely come in at. But, you know, on the flip side of that coin, if you flip that 786, lower highs invalidated, send it into new all-time highs. So I would say 250.96 is going to be that doorway to higher prices on Solana. That's like mega higher. That's like all-time highs, right? So, yeah. This would be crazy, right? Like this was your high. Whew, that would be brutal. Lower probability in my opinion, though, right? And why do I say that? It's not just for no reason, right? It's look at your money flow. Actually, money flow on the weekly for Solana, not looking as good as Ethereum, to be honest. It is coming back up, so this is still like nice to see, nice flying up on the money flow on the higher time frames. But on Ethereum, you have the fresh weekly money flow crossover, meaning that you could have a whole green wave to go here. So just keep that in mind. But let's take a quick look at XRP, sitting at 307. Let's pull this up on the actual alt chart. There it is. Nope, not there. Right here. So yeah, and we've talked about this, guys. You know, again, like when we look at XRP, right? The thought process at first was like, hey, if we have to get the big correction from our key level of resistance, which was sitting up here, we even saw those bearish confirmations calling for a pullback. The thought process there was we'd be okay with a pullback all the way down to these range highs. We have your golden pocket, your 786, your value area high, and your daily MPOC. We never even hit that level. This golden pocket locally was an area where we could put in that higher low, right? As long as we stay above that anchored VWAP, that could be the higher low for the higher high to come in. But if we lose this anchored VWAP, again, I'm not going to expect that golden pocket to hold up very well on a second time around. So what does that mean? That means you could be headed down to these range highs between 250 and 260, but at the end of the day, this is still an area where we were willing to see a pullback come into, right? But, you know, the market is confusing. The market is choppy, right? It's not easy. You get these kind of like noisy moves. So just to like point this out, if we do get another dump down on XRP, 250 to 260 is still a big level of support. And the line in the sand for much lower prices is sitting all the way down here at 230 at the 786. It's not until we lose this 230 level where I would be looking for a much bigger move down to crack the lows. So, you know, you're pretty far away from this stuff, right? Doesn't mean that you can't do it, right? But, you know, it's very funny. It's like anytime we see a pullback, it's like everybody has these like crazy knee-jerk reactions. It's most of the reason why people oftentimes get wrecked, right? Because they just think like, oh my God, super bearish, sell, boom. Oh my God, super bullish, buy. Oh, bear market, sell. Oh, bull market, buy, right? So you want to try to get that out of your head when you're looking to invest long-term spot bags, or especially when you're looking to day trade or scalp. So yeah, I would say, you know, key level support, 250, 260 still sitting in here on XRP. And could we get the bigger pullback? Let's check the weekly. Red dot looking to print. Money flow coming up, which would indicate the trend will continue to the upside in some form or fashion, but that red dot could continue your little drop to the downside, potentially to the golden pocket or the 786. So no real update on XRP there. Let's see. Vinny VWAP. Yo, shout out to Full Melt Mike. If my name was Vinny, that would 100% be my YouTube name. I would not be Frankie Candles. I would be Vinny VWAPs. That's a fire name, man. I'm kind of pissed my name isn't Vinny. I like the name Vinny. I might name my kid Vinny if I have a boy. Let's see. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto said, I'm going to keep writing it until Frankie notices. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. I guess I noticed the wrong chat here, but he says, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door to higher prices. Yeah, let's go. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Knock, knock, knocking on the doorway to higher prices. But anyway, shout out to Mr. Hoozy, or Mr. Huzzy says, how to open your TradingView chart for free. Shout out to Mr. Huzzy. I don't know if you're saying, like, how do you start a TradingView account? You just go to tradingview.com, and you can open a free account. Or you might be asking about how to get my personal charts for free. I give them in the premium Discord. So if you're in the premium Discord, you would just go to my chart links. You'll see the section in the Discord. You click that, and you can import it into your TradingView. Let's see. Knocking on Diddy's door. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Good Lord. All right, let's continue on here. Let's go ahead and take a quick look. I'm going to run down the alt list here, guys. I will take some requests from chat if you guys want to drop your favorite altcoins. And again, I'm not going to say we're doing a short stream, but I'm probably not going to cover as many as I did because I don't know if you guys can notice, I can't speak straight. I am a wreck. I have to go to bed early tonight, guys. All for that short position. The things we do for trades. Frankie can sing. Shout out to Hodl Crypto. Yeah, guys, that's my backup plan. That's my backup plan. If I ever blow up all my trading accounts, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go on American Idol. Is American Idol still a thing? Are they done with that? Formerly known as Vinny VWAP. Yo, I love Vinny VWAP. That's hilarious. XCN. Shout out to Jesse. Said, do you ever go out to eat and be like, shout out to you, when the waiter gives you your food out of habit for YouTube? Shout out to Jesse. Yes, I do that. But I do tip really well. It's one of my favorite things to do is like tip people a lot of money and watch them be like, what? And good service down here where we are at is pretty hard to find. So when we get good service, me and Mrs. Candles, we take good care of them. Actually tipped. I went to a Braves game this past weekend, and we were in the Delta Sky Lounge place, and you sit there, right? By the way, guys, it wasn't even that bad, right? Like, it's not like they're $1,000 tickets or anything, but you sit in a special section, and this guy walks around the stands, and they just throw you free food, free pretzels, hot dogs, ice cream sandwiches, and these dudes are winging stuff across the stadium and just going directly into people's hands. And I was stunned. This guy was more talented throwing food and beer to people than a lot of the baseball players. And I really liked him. And I tipped him pretty good. And he was like, dude, this is too much, man. I'm like, no, dude, you're the GOAT, bro. You're so talented. I just love seeing that reaction off people. That's the best thing when it comes to money. Obviously, we give a ton of money here away on the channel, but one of my favorite things to do is just to give back to people and see the reactions. It's helps them out, but it is somewhat selfish, right? Because it makes me feel good. But yeah, I go, shout out to you, and then I hand them a couple $100 and they're like, what the heck? But yeah, let's see. Jesse 5X already in major resistance. Take a peek at it. Shout out to Vegas Call. Not sure what that's in reference to. But let's continue on here. I'm telling you guys, if you could ever have a chance to go, I don't know if they do it at other baseball games, but if you'd ever go to the section where they just live. But anyway, let's continue on. This is a crypto stream, guys, not a concession stream. So we took a look at XRP. I will run in. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. If you could drop some of the is Rob here today? Actually, I don't know if I saw him. If not, maybe Captain can do it. Captain is super active today. So, Cap, if you could just grab some altcoins, let's do 3 requests, and then I will try to take a look at some other stuff as well. Yeah, Scale. We could take a look at Scale. Yeah, I actually have this on my watch list. This thing got an absolute ripper. Where's it at? Where's it at? I know it's here somewhere, guys. Bear with me. I have blurry vision right now. There it is. Boom! This thing is exploding. I do hold this, by the way. Has been a brutal ride, but we have gotten a very, very nice explosion to the upside here on Scale. This is like a gaming play. I could pull this volume profile here, and I mean, I don't really think I really have to say anything more. The volume profiles, guys, I promise you, will absolutely change your life, right? It's not as easy as just tapping the value area low and going directly to the high, but if you know what to look for here, guys, deviate above the high, deviation back in, or deviate above the high, push back into the range. You can't get back out. This is where you're looking for short positions, and the bearish retest of that value area high, this is where you're looking for price to break out. If it doesn't break out, very high probability that the next likely place for price to go, you just saw me pull this live on stream. I did not have this preset. This is not hindsight. Well, I guess it is hindsight, technically, because it's already played out, but you could just see here, I just pulled this volume profile. Once you lose that value area high, the next likely place for price to go is going to be where? It's going to be right into the POC. What happens? Quick drop to the POC. You lose the POC. You go into the low. You chop around here a little bit. But what do you have down here? Just to give a little educational sauce. This is the point of this stream, guys. Sure, it's fun. We give the TA. We give the levels. We give my thoughts. We show the trades. But I want to teach here, right? Because I want to help you guys better your life, whether it's through investing or trading. What happens down here, even on the 4-day, but I'm sure if we come up to the 6-day and the weekly, what do we have here, guys? Lower lows on price action as you're deviating below the volume profile. This is undervalued. Lower lows on your price action, higher lows on your momentum waves. There's the bullish divergence on the weekly. You rip back to the POC, flip it to support. Next place to look for is the full fill of the range into the value area high. And on top of that, fast move down or fast move up oftentimes leads to fast move down. Fast move down can oftentimes lead to a fast move up. In this case, right up into that value area high. So I would say the next key level to look at here on Scale is going to be the value area high sitting at about 5 cents. That's what I would look at. But very nice. Money flow coming up on the 6-day as well. So if we can get that to cross over into the green, you might be able to see that continue up. But we do have the value area high here at about 0.05620. Going to be resistance, so just be careful. You could get it, bang your head here a little bit. Excuse me, and potentially reverse back to the value area low. But money flow would indicate if you get that crossover into the green on the 6-day, what are you going to look for? Lackluster pullbacks, higher lows, and potential higher highs. Look for the breakout of the range. So there you go. You can even see here from the low, bullish divergences, lower lows, higher lows, You're at the value area low, back to the POC. You flip the POC perfectly to support, push into the value area high, cool off, breakout. Same exact thing here. Could be the same thing, I should say. So yeah, very nice to see that massive move. What was this on the daily candle? Yeah, yesterday it was like, 45% move. And then another 78% candle here. Let's go. That thing needed the pump, though. That's for sure. That thing was getting crushed. But there you go. There's scale. We'll take a quick look at Cardano. And, we had this will it break level here on Cardano. This was, I believe we looked at this last night. Yeah, yesterday was the 13th. We said, will it break? Right? We had it there on the chart. And, again, the thought process here was the fact that we were bouncing off the point of control / golden pocket of the impulse, right? Impulse to the high, golden pocket, POC. That's your key level of support locally. You get the bounce. What could this be? Well, because it's a golden pocket, you have your low, your high, potential higher low. And if this is going to be the higher low, what are you anticipating? Crack of structure to the upside. We get it, right? We took a look at a bunch of coins that had this situation playing out. Solana was one of them. We cracked the high. Cardano was another one. We cracked the high. So you guys can see, like, this isn't just made up, right? The higher probability here, if you hold this, is that the higher low is in and you're looking for a higher high. So right now on Cardano, right, just understand if we have to get some kind of massive pullback, you do still have the macro golden pocket, which this is actually going to have to move slightly up to the high. Come on. All right, so this actually has moved up a bit. This is a huge, I would probably mark this off as the POC golden pocket, and then you have your 786 value area low. Right, so the biggest levels here at this point, you have your golden pocket, which looks like it's tapped, but it's really not. So yeah, if we have to come back in, it's really just the volume profiles, guys. Like, if we could remain inside here, hold this value area low as support, you could continue into this profile and rip up to the POC. Right, we can get this off the chart because we've already gotten the break of structure. So key level of support on Cardano is going to be 90 cents. This is the value area low. This is your doorway to higher prices. Not impossible to see pullbacks, but if you could hold here, doorway to the POC is still open, and it doesn't have to happen in a straight line like it did on scale, right? It doesn't always have to be that, like, super, super, super clean rip like I just showed here on scale, right? It doesn't have to be that instant pop to the upside into the value area high. But, it could be a messy journey, but just understand that doorway to the POC is open as long as you remain inside this volume profile. If we lose it, the biggest key level of support is going to be sitting down here at the value area high, because maybe you just have to bing bong around here a little bit until you can reclaim and send it. But once you lose this, I'd be looking down towards the POC, golden pocket. This is actually very nice because this is confluent with the POC. This could be an area to bounce from again, but if you have to lose this golden pocket, very clear target of the 786 value area low. This, because it is the full golden pocket 786 from the low to the high, right, or the low to the high, you do not want to lose this, right? If you lose this value area low, I'm going to be looking down here. Like, it's going to be a much bigger drop. But, until that happens, right, you're still very far away from that, right? You're still 32% away from that. I'm not saying you can't get down there, but it's kind of pointless to talk about right now because I don't expect that to happen by tomorrow. So, yeah, I would say, like, local levels right now, definitely going to be your value area low, sitting at 89 cents, 90 cents, and then underneath that, your value area high. Those are the two biggest levels. Doorway to higher prices, doorway to lower prices. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on Cardano. And again, this is going to look very similar to everything else. If we take a look at the daily here, bearish divergence, potentially looking to print here. That VWAP is getting supported on the zero line pretty good, but if this rolls over, just watch out for that daily red dot. Come up to the higher time frames, 3-day money flow trending in the right direction, right? This is all just still in line here. 4-day just picking dandelions in the outfield, totally opposite of what everything else says. I don't know why that's happening. 5-day money flow crossover into the green, 6-day money flow in the green, weekly money flow in just starting to cross over into the green. So even if you have to get those bigger pullbacks, guys, the trend is likely to continue up based off money flow. Until that changes, and when it does, I'll let you know. I am still going to be looking for higher lows and higher highs, right? Whether you have to go for the bigger retracement or the smaller retracement. So hopefully that makes sense. So there's Cardano. Let's see. Thank you, Cap, for the alt list. I appreciate you. And thank you, Tony D, for pinning that. Let's take a look at Arweave real quick. That is first on the list. We got Arweave, INJ, ADA we took a look at, and Near. Okay. Let's take a look at Arweave. Where's our Arweave chart? There it is. All right, so we can get rid of these lines. Still remains valid, that whole thought process, but Yeah, I mean, we're banging our head on the POC here, right? We had the bullish. I'm just going to redraw the lines that I deleted, right? So you have the lower lows on your price action, higher lows on your momentum waves. Get back into the value area, push into the POC. At this point, the POC is the biggest level to break above. This is sitting at about 894. So if you could crack above this, I would be looking up towards the value area high at 1244. However, if you can't, the value area low is your biggest key level of support, and you might have fib confluence there as well. Yeah, so I would say you've already tested the golden pocket, so I would probably say unless that golden pocket holds up as support again, which is lower probability in my opinion, but not impossible, I would probably be paying most attention to that value area low. Because if you lose that value area low, 786, I'd be looking to come crack these lows here. But until then, you have an opportunity to stay inside the range, push back up towards the POC, and then flipping that POC would be the indication that you could make it up to the value area high at 1230. Same kind of signals here, daily, red dot looking to print. No bearish divergence, which is, somewhat nice. But VWAP is coming down. Money flow still doesn't look bad, though. I'm not going to lie, guys. Even your 3-day money flow is still trending to the upside, right? And again, just to put this into perspective, right, this thing is still chilling pretty low, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is your range. Value area high, 1230, POC 894, value area low, a.k.a. key level of support. Technically, you did not tap. Yeah. It's just these golden pockets, guys. I don't expect these to get respected twice. You do still the bottom of this is still naked, so maybe that holds up. But, if you lose that, you're definitely looking to the value area low. So that's what I would look at here on Arweave. But again, it looks the same as all the other altcoins as far as money flow goes. Take a look at the 8-hour real quick. 12-hour red dot printing. 45-minute money flow is probably already in the red. Yeah, you do have a little bit of a bull div here, but money flow would indicate that you could potentially continue down here locally. But long-term, right, sentiment pretty much remains the same, guys. It's not until we lose that 786 where I'd be looking for lowers. Lowers? Lower lows. Good Lord, guys. This might be the roughest live stream I've done. Lack of sleep, guys. Lack of sleep. Yo, shout out to Crypto Junkie for Life. Says, Frankie, you have a great watching to like ratio. Impressive. Yo, shout out to Crypto Junkies for Life. Says, most investment videos I watch get 10% at best usually. You deserve it. Shout out to Crypto Junkie. Yo, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for saying that. It's the Mafia, man. We got the best community out there. We really do. And some people say it's because of the TA. I just say it's because the Mafia is awesome. Let's see. Thank you, Mark S., for that super chat, bro. He says, can you do Caspa, please? Yes, we can take a look at Caspa. I will just remember that. That's actually a lie, guys. I'm probably not going to remember, especially right now. Looking for the pen, guys. Looking for a pen. Anybody? Somebody have a pen I can borrow? Bear with me. Got the pen. All right. Caspa. And then we had one more. What was the other one? Pengu. Yeah. Actually, let me jump into Pengu. Please do not super chat your altcoins, or feel free to, but does not guarantee that we look at it. I wish we had infinite time here, but let's see here. Sometimes people like super chat like this weird meme coin that's not even TA-able. And then it's like everybody else that's sitting here watching, looking for like the major altcoins. It's like, it's not fair to the other people, right? To sit through those like analysis on these random altcoins. So yeah, just to be clear about that. Yeah, Pengu. All right, so let's see here. All right, so we're melting through that golden pocket. So I'm just gonna drag this down to the 7/8. I'm actually gonna take this off the chart. Take this off the chart. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I would say, from a simple volume profile perspective, deviation above the high, there's your inability to get above the high. And you guys will see, this is all the same on every single coin, right? Not even just like the specific situation, but like anytime you're playing with the value area, guys, like this is, in my opinion, the most important trading tool to watch because it's deviate above the high. This is telling you that price is expensive, right? Getting the inability to break out there is saying, hey, everyone thought this was expensive, and now it's coming back into the fair value. And where's the fairest value? It's sitting at the POC. Where are we sitting right now? Well, we're potentially looking to lose that POC. So if you get the drop below this level, right, which we've already gotten, if you can't get back above this POC, I would be potentially looking for a continuation down. I mean, looking at the 2-hour money flow crossing into the red, this could continue an overall downtrend. So I would say the POC sitting here at 0.033 is going to be your biggest level of resistance to get above. But even if you get above it, remember, you could play around with these POCs. Like even here, you go from the value area low into the POC, which is obviously the high probability move for price. But what happens at the POC? You get a little rejection, right? Like you could play around with these levels. You're above it. You're back below it. You're above it. You're back below it. But eventually you do fill that volume profile in full. It's the same thing on the way down. You're below it. You could get back above it. You could go back below it. But eventually, if you get stuck up below it, like the full fill of that range is very likely. So just be aware of that. So even if you get back above this POC, I would be based off money flow here, indicating the local trend could continue down. I'd be careful of lower highs and lower lows, right? Let's say we bounce from here. I'd watch this Fibonacci retracement between 0.036 and 0.037 for a potential lower high. And you could reject lower fibs as well, right? Like super like lower time frame local fibs. You could pull it from this high to the low, right? Which sits between 0.034 up to about 0.035. But the major fib would be sitting from the actual high here, rejected from the value area high. So this would be resistance. If you pump up there, I would be aware of that. And if money flow is continuing out on the medium time frames, could potentially be a fake out, lower highs, and then lower lows continuing to the value area low. You do have this golden pocket, daily MPOC sitting at 0.028. That would be a level I would watch as well. Let's see if this is confluent with anything else. Yeah, Pengu with the recovery of a lifetime there. Went from 3 cents to 0, back up to 3 cents. Oh my God, guys, I'm dying. But daily MPOC sits at 0.028. Is this confluent with any significant fib? Man, I really wish that was way more confluent, but you could look at this as your golden pocket daily MPOC, and then just underneath that, 786 value area low. Right, so the way I would play this personally, not that I day trade Pengu or anything, but you continue down. This is the first area where you could put in a higher low. Once you lose that, you're just looking down to the value area low, which is already confluent because it's our, at this point, doorway to lower prices. It was your doorway to higher prices on the way up to push into the value area high, but you've deviated, gotten stuck below. If you get that full fill of the range, huge level to look at here. Value area low, 786, 0.026 to 0.025. If you don't make it down here and you continue down in some way, this would be where I would look for the bounce. But volume profiles fill more often than they don't, so just keep that in mind. So there's Pengu. Let's take a look at our next altcoin on the list. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Says, everybody has the right to be ugly, but I just abuse my privileges. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Good Lord. I use my right. Not only do I use my right to be ugly, but I actually plaster it all over the internet for everybody to enjoy. All right, let's continue on. Wolf of Crypto said, quick, somebody go give this guy mouth to mouth. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto, bro. No, nobody give me mouth to mouth. Anyway, if Frankie kicks the bucket, we all lose a piece too. Shout out to Erica. Oh God. Yeah, shout out to One of Crypto said, yeah, he's laughing. The struggle is real. I've never seen Frankie this rough. I'm not, guys, when I say, and this is why I was a little upset. Sure, awesome. Took the short. Is this the short? This is the long. Speaking of being rough, right? Took the short, made some money. This is great. But at what cost, guys? I can't breathe. I keep coughing. I'm tired. I can't speak, right? And I try, it's been a while since I've struggled this hard or, stayed up super late to try to catch a trade like that. I was literally laying in bed. I sit at my desk, right? Sitting in the studio until late at night updating the Discord. I'm like, guys, probably going to be sleeping if we lose this MPOC, but if we do, that's the failed auction. I'm going to try to catch a retracement. I'm just laying in bed. I leave. I'm laying in bed. I'm looking at the chart. I'm like, I'm just going to take it. I'm going to take it. Stop loss set. If we dump, we dump. And, yeah, but it was definitely at a cost here, guys. Definitely at a cost. Shout out to the Wheel of Crypto. It says, fun fact, the previous 2 cycles lasted 1,064 days. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, guy, brother. I appreciate you. Wow, I really can't talk. This is embarrassing. That means that if this happens again, Bitcoin will top out October 20th. Real quick, shout out to Two Wheel Crypto. Let's look at something here real quick. It's weird that you say that, my friend. Very weird that you say that. Because if anybody was in here last night, this is kind of weird, right? This is the exact date that we said we were going to be keeping an eye on because, and this actually does make a lot of sense based off the time fib. This level I pulled off the time fib. So if I hide our spider lines, get rid of this fib, you guys can see I've pulled this many a times in the past, and I pulled it from, come up to a higher time frame, the low of 2017 to the high of 2021 to the low of 2022. And it's right, wow, I can't believe I sniped those candles so zoomed out. I'm kind of impressed by myself with that. But that 1-to-1 fib sits on October 20th, which makes sense, right? Because it's basically just measuring the length of the previous move. But, yeah, literally the level we've been looking at based off the time fib. So very, very interesting. Shout out to Two Wheel Crypto, literally watching the same day. And, you know, again, it doesn't mean I'm watching this to say this is guaranteed to be the top. But in the previous cycle, this was the exact place where the top came in on that 1-to-1 fib. I might be off a candle or two there, but you could see here, actually, maybe not. Yeah, I think technically it sits there if I measured it correctly. 1-to-1 fib, top comes in, and then we wind up coming down. Or maybe it was actually, maybe I had it right the first time. Top comes in, next 6-day candle. Or, yeah, no, actually it was here, right? Top comes in, next weekly candle starts the bear market. 1-to-1 fib, 1-to-1 fib. October 20th. It moved because we changed time frames. But, yeah, very interesting. Looking at the same exact date. Very interesting. Let's see. Shout out to Mrs. B. Thank you for the super chat. Said, you're amazing, and so is the Mafia. There are still fun and good people in the world. Thank you to everyone. Your positivity makes a difference. Shout out to Mrs. B. It's literally what I say about the Mafia constantly. It's the coolest thing in the world. It gives me faith in humanity that there is this many cool human beings out there. Normal, good human beings, at least what it seems to be. Obviously, we get some crazy people in here once in a while when the FOMO kicks in and all the new people come in. But the Mafia we have built here is some of the best people I've ever met, and it's crazy that they come from all over the world. Truly gives me faith in humanity. Let's see. 6-day Bitcoin money flow is almost touching the overbought bars on market. Cypher B, what are your opinions on that? Are you talking about the momentum waves? Yeah, money flow is not hitting the overbought. The momentum waves are. I mean, listen. It means it's overbought slightly. But here's the thing with things being overbought, right? One of the traps that a lot of people fall into, and I'm not saying who said this. I forget, and I'm too sleep drunk to find it again. But and I'm not saying this is the case that you're in, but a lot of people will look at the RSI and they look at this and they back test it and they're like, oh my God, every time you hit this line, like you're overbought, you could just buy and sell the RSI. This is a fallacy, right? Because price can remain overbought and oversold for a long time, right? Like you could see here, people would say like, oh my God, well, pull up the weekly, right? Weekly RSI is overbought. This is the top of the bull market, right? Which would make absolutely no sense. But a lot of people would think that, right? But here's the thing, right? Like we're going to get a massive dump. Look how overbought we are on the RSI. Price comes down and just continues remaining in the overbought territory. And you just continue grinding up, right? So this is not a valid way to trade, in my personal opinion. That's why when I look at the market Cypher B, which at the end of the day is going to give you similar signals as the RSI. Those momentum waves are going to give you very similar signals as the RSI. But that's why I don't just trade the overboughtness of it, but what I do trade are the divergences, right? So let me try to see if I can find like a quick little divergence here. For example, right? You know, oh my God, we're overbought. You get a little pullback, but you just continue up. Oh my God, we're overbought. And then you push up again. But it's not really until you see those like long-term divergences where you have higher highs on your price, lower highs over time on the RSI. That is what I use the RSI for, or really market Cypher B, but the RSI gives you very similar signals, right? If I pull up Market Cipher B, you'll see that weekly bold bear div on the momentum waves. So the reason I say this is because if you look at Market Cipher B, is the 6-day overbought? Yes, on your momentum waves, but you have a green dot printing, and actually, for what it's worth here, you do actually have a bearish divergence, right? You have your higher highs, you have your lower highs. This is technically a bearish sign. So again, and even if we do have to endure the bigger pullbacks, again, could it be the top of the bull market? Maybe. Wouldn't be impossible. But, again, it's not just like overbought. Like, it doesn't always just mean instant down, especially when you have a green dot printing. But you do have a bearish divergence for what it's worth. But that, just to kind of answer that question, it's like, I don't ever really take, like, I'll take it into consideration, but I'm not just going to be like, hey, we're overbought, let me sell. But if I have a bearish divergence, right, then maybe that would take that a little bit more seriously, because you have the discrepancy between your price action and your momentum, and you can look for those bigger pullbacks, which we're aware of and ready for. All right, let's see. Yo, shout out to Vegas Call. Said I'm going to be like ChatGPT and tell you what you want to hear. Shout out to Vegas Call. It does seem like that, right? Hey, ChatGPT, I'm not cool, right? Like, I'm not cool or anything. No, Frankie Candles, you are cool. All right, anyway, let's continue on here. Let's take a look at our next altcoin, which is going to be INJ, or INJ, as some of you guys like to call it. I don't think this is our INJ chart. Maybe it is. All right, I guess it is. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, tried to get above that 786. Let me just take this off real quick. Okay, so bear with me here, guys. Just going to... let's hide the local levels real quick. Pull up the macro profile. So long term here on INJ, I mean, clearly you've gone value area low, flipped it to support perfectly, push in your POC, flipped it, came into the value area high, deviated, back to the golden pocket, higher low, higher highs. Nice. Not that this really, I mean, this is just kind of showing how we got here. Yeah, so this is a deviation above the value area high. You do have bearish divergences forming potentially here on the daily, like everything else, right? VWAP potentially looking to come down. Money flow looks healthy, but you do have the higher highs and the lower highs. So just be aware of that. Biggest key level down below, in my opinion, is going to be this value area high sitting at 1455. And if we lose this, I mean, POC is the next expected place for price to go. If you get the fake breakout, you break back in, can't break back out. Next likely place for price to go is the POC. We do have the anchored VWAP pulled here from the April lows. This is going to move up if price comes down, so just be aware of that. Right now, it sits right in confluence with the POC, but just be aware if this does creep up. Try to see if I could front run this a little bit from the low to the high. Yeah, it's just hard because you're just so out of context with the volume profile. Never mind. This looks nice. So macro value area high is marked out here for a reason, right? I would say 1457, definitely a big level. If you lose this, I would be looking at this local level. You have nice confluence here on your golden pocket value area high. And then you have your 786. So, best case scenario, you bounce here. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if that daily red dot prints that you melt through it. I would definitely watch this as your next key level. This sits at about 1370 down to about 1350. Definitely an area where you could bounce. And again, when we look at that anchored VWAP from the April lows, that's June lows. Hang on a second. Honestly, both of these could potentially... yeah, these would be the two anchored VWAPs I'd look at. From the June lows here, and then pulled from the April lows. I'll pull this both so they can both kind of live here, right? So if you can get either of these anchor VWAPs, this one from June is probably going to come up faster. So, yeah, these would be the biggest levels locally to watch on INJ, in my opinion. 1370 to 1347. If you lose that, watch that 786. If you come down to this golden pocket, I would say this anchored VWAP might be confluent, which would be very nice. And then if you don't bounce off that and you lose it, look to come down towards the 786, and hopefully at that point, this other anchored VWAP is coming up in confluence. The weight I would put on these levels would highly, highly rely on if the anchored VWAPs are confluent. So that's what I would look for. But either way, you do have the Fibonacci retracements here, so that would be very nice. So watch these as your 2 big levels. Once you lose this 786, though, I'd be looking to come down to the value area low, to be quite honest, right? Because if you can't hold that 786 for a higher low and another higher high, that invalidates the idea of the higher low, and you look to crack structure to the downside. Even within the profile, your next target's going to be the POC, and then at that point, you lose the POC, you look to go to the value area low, and that would give you the crack at this low. Might seem confusing, but that's what I would look at, right? Hopefully, you don't have to lose this macro value area high. It's definitely a key level, but if you don't bounce here or here, I'm looking to the POC and the value area low. So there you go. That's what I would look at on INJ. POC comes in at $12, value area low at $11.31. That's what I would look at. Let's see here. Yo, shout out to Mike, says, really starting to hate crypto. Shout out to Mike. Listen, if you're feeling about crypto, just understand. When in doubt or when you're panicking, when you feel bad, just zoom out, right? And I don't know exactly, what you're feeling the pain from. I assume you probably hold a bunch of altcoins, which, again, we still might have a little bit of time before we finally see the alts start to move in a really big way, even though a lot of them have already gotten significant moves up. But just understand, right? Like, people will say, oh my God, Ethereum's breaking out. And then they see this dump and they're like, oh my God, right? But like, just understand, Ethereum has had even if I don't measure from the bottom, it's like a pretty monumental move. 128%, right? It's okay to get pullbacks in this, right? So just understand that. And in crypto, the pullbacks can be very aggressive. So, obviously that could be a little bit annoying. But, at the end of the day, right, like people are like, oh my God, Ethereum can't catch a break. It's like, what? Like, I just look at the chart and I'm just like, what do you mean Ethereum? And I'm not saying you're saying this, brother, but, a lot of people will say stuff like that. It's like, what do you mean Ethereum can't catch a break? This thing has been ripping, right? It's like, but most people, right, are going to get bullish as you're about to enter new all-time highs, and everybody thinks like, this is where you buy, and then they have to endure those pullbacks, and if those pullbacks have to get aggressive, they're thinking like, oh my God, this is brutal, I'm going to sell, and then eventually it'll pop up, go into all-time highs, and then guess who's buying again? The people who were pissed off up here. So it is very difficult, right? It's very easy to say. It's very hard to not actually feel that. Even me sometimes, I'll feel that, right? But I just don't make my trading decisions based off of that. So there you go. And Mike says PTSD. Shout out to Mike. Yeah. I feel you, brother. I feel you. Shout out to Steve. Shout out to Steve. Says, love some Frankie Candle. Shout out to Steve. Welcome in, bro. Thank you for being here. ETH loves getting the Bugs Bunny hammer. Bonk. But anyway. JPO says those who complain bought the top. Yeah. I mean, I think that is generally what happens, right? Like, everybody in my personal life is always like, man, like, what's up with crypto, man? But it's like, and it's funny too. It's like, this is why I always say, like, when it comes, especially if you're learning, if you want to learn how to day trade or like, scalp or do any kind of shorter term trading, self accountability is the biggest thing, right? It's like a lot of people, on XRP, this was like the biggest thing in December when XRP was ripping. I had everybody and their grandmother, oh my God, should I buy XRP? And I am literally like out of breath telling people, just listen, man. I wouldn't buy the top. Like, this is like, and I always have to be the guy, right? Like, I have people like, should I buy XRP? And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, man, but like, I was kind of telling you when the good time to buy XRP was back here when we were getting the 2-day money flow crossover. And it's like, but you say this to people and they're just like, nah, this thing's not moving. And it's like, yeah, but the signs are on the chart. And they're just like, they fade it down here. And then it's not until literally the tippy top where they're interested in buying. And I try to tell them, like, not only did you miss the good entry, but like, this is also, I'm not saying you can't buy XRP, but you probably want to wait for a pullback. But every single time, they just don't do it, right? They don't care. They're like, you're an idiot, man. I want to get rich overnight. This thing is obviously bullish. And it's like, all right, man, I already made all these mistakes. Please learn from my mistakes. And they just don't. And then they down here, they're like, this is a scam, man. I thought crypto was going to pump. And I'm just like, I tried. There's been a couple people that I just tell them, like, just buy an S&P index, bro. Or just buy Bitcoin every week or every month for the next 20 years. Don't try to buy altcoins. But yeah, it is a very difficult situation. But that and even the same thing on Ethereum, right? Like, where was everybody bearish on Ethereum? Down at $1,300. What were we saying at $1,300? And I don't say this to brag and say we were right. it's just the way the market moves, right? Like, this is where you want to get bullish, not here, right? But most retail will get bullish here and be like, hey, what the heck? How come I bought this and it only went down? Well, it's like, not only did you not buy at the best opportunity, but you also literally bought the worst time. You'd be better off waiting for the pullback buying. Because even on XRP, right? On XRP, let's say you wait, right? Hey, don't buy the top. Wait for a pullback. And then you come into support. You're like, now you buy. At least you're not freaking out on these little pullbacks. So, yeah, usually, I'm not saying Mike's in this situation. I'm just saying in general, when people are upset, I mean, I get this cycle has been very frustrating, especially with altcoins. I get it, guys. I hold altcoins too, right? But it takes a lot of patience, right? And more often than not, when people are like emotionally pissed off about that stuff, it has a lot more to do with their entry than the actual performance of the asset, right? So, yeah. But there you go. Again, not saying Mike's in that position, but it just kind of triggered that thought. Let's see. Hodl is my name. Shout out to Mrs. V. Let's go. All right, let me yo, shout out to Tomahawk. Said the neon behind you, it's real? If not, can we change the background just for the meme? Shout out to Tomahawk. This is real, guys. This is not a green screen. I will prove it. See? I'm touching it. I'm just kidding. This is real. It is real. I don't know if you guys could hear me back there, but it is real. Otherwise, I would have a new background every day. All right, let's continue on here. So let's see. We took a look at RW. We took a look at INJ. We took a look at A. Let's take a look at NEAR. All right. I think I'm about to hit that point, guys, where I'm so tired I'm about to start getting loopy. Somebody lock me out of my trading accounts. About to start 100x long and stuff. All right, let's see here. I can take this off the chart. And we could probably extend this profile, to be quite honest. Why? Because we're still in the area of balance. Does it move the levels that much? Not really. Let me just adjust this a bit. So you got your rejection off the high, back to the POC. Lower high, lower low, into the value area low, right into your golden pocket. Potential area to put in that higher low. Right? Low, high, potential higher low. That golden pocket is a place where you can put in the higher low, which could mean higher high is incoming. However, you still have the 786 down here, and these volume profiles are stacked. So I would say the biggest level on the chart right now, in my own personal opinion, is obviously going to be the 786. Because if you lose that 786, not only does it invalidate, this is your last level to put on a higher low to see a higher high. Once you lose that 786, not only does it invalidate the idea of the higher low, but you're also getting accepted into your lower profile, which could indicate a much bigger drop to the downside. So there you go. I'm just going to leave that there. Come on. There we go. But locally, this is the range I would still be looking at. You front ran the low here. You went to the high. You're rejecting the high. So POC sits at 263. If you can't hold that POC and you lose it, I'd be looking down to the value area low / previous value area high. Huge level of support. Could you bounce off the 786? Yes. But again, this is a difficult situation like we look at many times. Could you get a higher low on the 786 for a higher high? Yes. But what's the problem with that? Well, if you bounce off the 786, not only are you looking at the value area low as resistance, but you also have the previous value area high as resistance. And if you get rejected from there, could get accepted into that bigger range. So I would prefer, if you continue down here on NEAR, that if you lose the POC, I would much prefer to hold this golden pocket, which was technically front ran. So this is still a valid level of support, in my opinion. The level you held here really was the previous value area high. So I would say if you do get the full rotation of the profile, you're hoping for the bounce off the golden pocket. That is the most ideal situation. Could you bounce off the 786? Yes. Is it dangerous for a bigger drop down? Yes. So you're hoping to hold this. This does sit between 231 and 224. Biggest level on the chart, in my opinion. Well, actually, 786 is the biggest level on the chart, but this is the most valid level that I would be looking at for a bounce. So there you go. 786 sits at 207. That's what I'd be looking at. As far as money flow goes, I'm going to guess. I'm not looking. Daily bearish divergence. Money flow kind of coming up. Oh, I should have known there was no divergence because we didn't break the high. But most other things have the daily bearish divergence. Money flow coming up. VWAP coming down. So nice that you don't have the daily bearish divergence here, but you do still have the potential daily red dot incoming. It's a little better that it's not a divergence, but that red dot could still print. But again, money flow on the daily still coming up. 2-day money flow still coming up. 3-day money flow still trending to the upside, right? So again, like I said, we still could have a lot of time here to bing bong around on altcoins before finally getting their moves. And again, looking at Bitcoin dominance, if we get these 2-day bullish divergences to print, guess what's going to happen to dominance? It's going to get a bounce. Guess what's going to happen to altcoins in that situation? They're going to go down, right? So just be aware of that. I'm watching this 2-day bull div on dominance like a hawk. But why does that not really scare me? Well, because I can see that the high time frame money flow is trending down, indicating the longer-term trend will continue to the downside for an eventual breakdown out of that volume profile. That's the hope, right? Could you just blast back up here, have money flow cook back into the green, and then shoot up to the value area high, sitting at 60, almost 70% dang near? Yes, but not what I would look at, right? Not my base case. My base case, based off money flow here, would be, okay, I'm all right with retracements here. This is why, like, when we get pullbacks like this, like, you'd be like, why isn't Frankie ever freaking out about these pullbacks? It's like, because I usually understand the context here. Like, I would be okay. And not only okay with this dominance popping back up, but I would actually expect the pullback on altcoins. So I'm not just panicking like, oh my God, what's happening? No alt season? Like, I can imagine what it's like not knowing this stuff, right? Because you see a dump on your altcoin, you have no idea why it's happening. You're like, I thought it was going up. Why is it going down? Right? And it's very hard if you don't understand the context of the market, what Bitcoin dominance is doing, how that affects altcoins. If you don't know that, it's very scary to see the drops down. And sometimes I think I'm jaded, right? Because I'm so used to looking at this. Sometimes I see people freaking out about pullbacks, and I'm like, I don't get it. But I have to understand that not everybody understands this all fully. But once you can actually understand it, those pullbacks are looked at as opportunities. Like Ethereum's a perfect example on this pullback. Everyone's like, what the heck? And I'm just sitting here like, what do you mean, what the heck? Like, this is just perfect. Stay in the volume profile, fill it in full. But it's not that simple and not that obvious to other people. Sometimes I think I lose sight of that. So it's like, why are we pulling back here on ETH? It's like, well, we came into a key level. Dominance might look like it would bounce, like it might bounce, which could indicate a bigger pullback. So even if we pulled that bigger, I wouldn't even really be that freaked out. But I know not everybody understands that, and I have to try to remember that when everyone's freaking out. And I'm like, why is everyone freaking out? So yeah, I think like one of the best things that I ever did was like extend my time horizon, right? Like when you extend your time horizon, you stop trying to like buy an altcoin while it's pumping, expecting to make money overnight, and you wait for the long-term moves, buy, and you're willing to wait a little while to make that money, it becomes a lot less stressful, and you stop watching that 5-minute chart waiting for price to go up. It obviously changes if you're scalping the 5-minute. You're going to be looking at the 5-minute. I'm talking about longer-term investments. But yeah, there we go. Charts don't lie. I don't know who said that. It just disappeared, but shout out to you. I would agree. Let's see. Shout out to My Passive Freedom, says the guy in my avatar is a guy I just kidnapped. His name is Steve. Shout out to Steve. If you could hear me in the back of that van, we're sending help, bro. Shout out to My Passive Freedom. Let's see. Sui, yes, we could take a too late. Shout out to My Passive Freedom. Yeah, we could take a look at Sui. Yeah, we took a look in here. I'll take a quick look at Sui here as I limp towards the finish line here, guys. If I fall asleep, just don't mind me. Just politely minimize the window because I do snore and I have an ugly sleeping face. All right, let's continue on. Taking a look at Sui. That's not our Sui chart. This is like an old Sui chart. Let me just go ahead and clear this chart so I can stop wondering if it's our actual chart. There we go. So now we can actually pull up our real Sui chart. So yeah, right? Like, and again, like the volume profile is going to help you with that as well. It's like if Sui dumps from here, you might be like, oh my God, what's happening, right? But like when you anticipate the rejection of the value area high, the move to the POC, and then if we lose that POC and continue dumping, I'm not panicking. I'm just saying, well, hey, we're just filling this volume profile. Just like I wouldn't panic here. Lose the POC, go down to the value area low. Is it fun to watch this go down? No, right? But we know that this is support. So we're not just going, oh my God, it's going to zero. You're going, okay, come on. Come into the support, right? And then you can look for, a long position or look to buy the dip. This makes it a lot less emotional when you can anticipate the moves down. So I would say, looking at Sui here, will it break? We had a break of structure level up here, which I guess technically isn't invalidated just yet because we did bounce off the POC golden pocket. Could still be higher low, higher high for a break of structure to the upside. So not broken just yet, but still there. If we break down below this POC, though, I'd be looking at this lower golden pocket. If we do not get the higher low there, I'd simply look towards the value area low 786. And in any situation, guys, it's not that you can't bounce here. I just always prefer, if there's a 786 confluent with the value area low, I always just prefer to get the move down there. And the reason for that is because not only are you coming down to a level where you can look for a potential higher low and a higher high, but it also gives you like the full fill of the range, right? Because if you bounce off this golden pocket, you're asking yourself, if I know that the volume profile typically goes from the high to the POC and then eventually makes its way to the low, it makes longing this golden pocket very difficult. Because sure, you could bounce there for a higher low and send it up, but you're going to be thinking to yourself the entire time, like, man, is that profile going to fill? I know it's way higher probability to see it fill. So you're in that long, right? Or maybe you just buy the dip, right? And you're thinking like, is this going to go up, or are we just going to eventually fill that profile? It's not 100% guarantee you fill the profile, but because of the high probability of that, you're always going to be questioning like if you're going to fill that full profile. So I always prefer to see the move down here because it's kind of like finished profile move, and there's a reason to get the bounce, not only based off Fibonacci theory, but also on the volume profile theory. Because as always, go from the high to the low. This is where you're looking for support to go at least back to the high. Or I should say at least back to the POC, if not high probability of the full fill to the high. So this is always going to be an easier trade than taking an entry in the middle of no man's land in the middle of the profile. So there you go. But that's what I would look at. Biggest level on the chart, at least in my opinion here, would be 786 to the value area low, sitting between 276 and 264. If you do not hold this, I'd be at least looking to crack this low. And then you have the honorable mention of the golden pocket. Again, not my favorite position for, not my favorite level, just based off of everything I just explained, but it is there between 313 and 302. And that is in the case that your local golden pocket was not the higher low, right? This still could be the higher low, but you start to look at some of these lower time frames, 2-hour money flow coming out. I don't know how high probability that is to be the higher low. But those are the key levels I would be looking at. And again, could deal with a lot of annoyance here on the altcoins, right? Maybe we just bing bong around until October, December, November. October, November, December, right? Still got the time for the rate cuts, right? And then maybe Bitcoin goes, and then we still have to wait for the altcoins to finally take off towards the end of the year. Could be the case, right? There's still a lot of time. These weekly money flow crossovers, even on Ethereum, does not mean upright this second necessarily. Could have a lot of chopping around. It's always the longer-term trend. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not going to beat that dead horse. All right, guys. If we don't bounce off that value area low, that's not great. Yeah, shout out to Brillo. I would agree with that. Let's see. Shout out to Keely. Says, I'm with you, Frankie. I'm waiting on Asia to wake up before I go to bed. Thank God I'm off for a couple of days. Shout out to Keely. Just eyes peeled on that chart. Let's go. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Said, if you don't hit that like button or subscribe, there will be baby oil going your way. Bing bong. Shout out to Vegas Claw. That was said by Vegas Claw, not me. But please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I will take a, guys, I'm not going to lie. I was going to do a short stream, and I didn't say it was a short stream for a very clear reason because I've never said it was going to be a short stream and did a short stream. But I will take a quick look at, shout out to Lefo, XCN. He says, XCN next? Please say yes. Lefo? Yes. Let's take a look at XCN. All right. Let's take a look here. Ooh. Yikes. All right. Well, not great. Again, I don't want to create fear. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But you are losing your 786, which is not really that good, right? This would potentially indicate a break of structure of this low, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Not saying it's going to zero or anything, but when you pull this from the low to the high, you're looking for, actually, let me bring that golden pocket back, right? Pulled from the low to the high. You were looking for higher lows in a few different places, either the golden pocket POC confluence or the value. And if you don't hold that golden pocket as the higher low for a higher high, and you break back down below that golden pocket, where are you looking for the price to go? Well, you're probably looking to go back down to the bottom of the profile where you have the 786 value area low. But if you don't hold that, what does that do? It invalidates the idea that you're probably going to put in a higher low there and makes it much more likely that you could break structure to the downside, which would be cracking this low here at 0.012. So I would be careful of that. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed either, right? Nothing is guaranteed when it comes to the charts, obviously. But again, when we looked at the breaks of structures to the upside, we looked for this break of structure, check it off the list. Solana, break of structure, check it off the list. But then we looked at a couple other ones that didn't get the break of structure. It doesn't mean, I mean, maybe they will happen a little later, but, you know, out of 3 coins that we were looking for the break of structure to the upside, 2 of them hit, 1 of them didn't, right? And that other one still has a chance to hit. So it's always a game of probabilities. You just always want to put your money on the highest probability. So I would say, in this case on XCN, the highest probability is that you could break this low, right? Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. At the end of the day, if you do not want to break that low, you're hoping for a massive rip up to flip that 786 value area low to support, and then you're looking at this to be maybe like a weekly wick, right? You know, get a quick recovery back above here and then send it back up. But if you can't get closes, I would say like, I mean, even a daily candle closure, you're not going to get it above that 786. You're already closing multiple daily candles. Not looking great. So I would probably say the higher probabilities to break structure to the downside. But as always, anything is possible. You know, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed. But I would say the highest probability for sure, the fact that you're losing that 786 would be to break this low. So yeah, not looking, I wouldn't say that looks the best. And then when we look at Market Cipher B, take a look here. 12-hour money flow in the red. Daily money flow also in the red. This is a little different than everything else. 2-day money flow back in the red. 3-day money flow in the red. 4-day money flow coming out. 5-day money flow coming out, right? Are you seeing a difference here? 6-day money flow is in the green, but not just crossing over. Weekly money flow is coming up, but you are seeing a little bit of a difference here on like the 3-day. When you look at the something like Ethereum, 3-day money flow is crossing into the green. When you go back to XEN, it's crossing into the red, right? So this actually looks a lot different than something like Ethereum or a lot of the other altcoins. And what happens, right? It looks different. It acts different. So there you go. I would say at this point, right, like I could try to find you an MPOC down there or something, but dang, maybe you have some daily MPOCs. Wow, hard to find levels. There's not much down here. Like, right, like I would say your best bet is an SFP of this low because there's not a lot of support down here. But let me just see something here. Let me pull from the actual April low to the high. Oh, this actually makes it a little less scary. So yeah, I would say your next big level to look at would be right here. This is your key 786 of the overall move. So if you do take out that low, just understand you have a macro 786 here. So you could have the low, the higher low, and then another bigger higher high. So watch that. This is a key level, 0.011685. 0.001700, more accurate. So if you take out this low, you're hoping to hold that as support. Lose that. That is macro bearish, right? Because if you're looking for high, low, high, higher low, higher high, breaking below this, I mean, you're potentially looking to take out this low from April. So that's what I would look at on XCN. Key level to break back above would be 0.014. So there you go. But with all that being said, guys, what does SFP mean? Shout out to Brillo. Swing failure pattern is an SFP. That is what SFP means. And if we take a look here at Bitcoin real quick, you can see part of the reason we were looking for an entry here on Bitcoin was the fact that we had this wick down here that we were SFPing. You wick down below, close above. You actually went for a nice little tap of it here, another tap of it here, but you got the SFP of this low, and all that means it's just a candlestick pattern, right? You're looking for a wick below and a candle closure above. That is what an SFP is. And if you look at a higher time frame, right, just like wick below, candle closure above, and that is oftentimes a, this is what I use as an entry trigger, right? So what do we have happen down here? You had your lower lows on price action. You had your, this was lower time frame actually. Lower lows on your price action, higher lows on your momentum waves, and an SFP, right? So you have your bull divs, then you get the SFP. That is enough for me to look for a long entry. And you go for one last visit at an SFP level, and we're continuing up. But again, I got stopped. I didn't get stopped out of this. I don't really know what happened here, guys. I must have accidentally sent a conditional order. It like closed 75% of my entry, and I had a very small position. I was like, I might as well just close it at this point. So yeah, but that's what an SFP is. It's simply when you sweep below a level and then close your candle above. I actually have a video on SFPs in the beginner series if you want to check out not only how to look for SFPs, how to find the levels that you should look for SFPs at, but also how I specifically trade them and how to get the best entries. Not even just how to trade them, but how to get better entries than just looking for the SFP. So, with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for today's live stream, guys. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. I can't talk straight. I can't breathe. I got to go to sleep. But I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us here. And again, no short stream. What do we do? Yeah, full 2 hours, literally to the second. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And we'll be back here tomorrow, same place, same time. Hopefully less tired. Hopefully I don't have to stay up till 3 a.m. to try to catch a short entry. But I'm going to hold that short position. I still have my longs open from lower. So whether we pump or dump, I'm making money. A little bit of a bummer that I missed that local entry or had to close that local entry. But still covered on both sides. So we'll see what happens, and I'll be back here tomorrow, guys. Same place, same time. If anything super crazy happens, I'll drop some content earlier in the day so you guys are up to date with what I'm looking for here next on Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoins. Pray for the bounce, guys. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space time for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside.